Hello friends, today we want to talk about packet tracer scenario and VLSM. This is free Ccna and my name is Amir. First, we should talk about subnetting again. As you know earlier, to reduce the size of network and create a smaller broadcast domain, you should use subnetting. And these smaller network space are called also subnets. Subnetting reduces overall network traffic and improves network performance. It also enables an administrator to implement security policies such as which subnets are allowed or not allowed to communicate together. But we should also talk about broadcast domain. What is broadcast domain? Because we talk about create a smaller broadcast domain. Um, the term broadcast domain is used to describe a group of devices on a specific network segment that can reach each other with Ethernet broadcast. Broadcasts sent by a device in one broadcast domain are not forwarded to devices in another broadcast domain. This improves the performance of the network because not all devices on a network will receive and process broadcast. For example, here in this scenario and this topology, you have only one broadcast domain. It means if PC1 wants to send any packet to PC0, for example, here, first should send to switch 1 and switch 1 should send to all of the interfaces and all of the ports here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean per ports here, and your network will be um, very busy. And in this situation, you need to have other broadcast domain. And in this scenario, if you use any router here, router help us to get two broadcast domain because for each of router ports or router interface, you have one broadcast domain. You can see here, we have two ports here and we have two broadcasts here, but in switch by default, Fluid Ethernet broadcast frames out all ports, just like bridges and also hops. And all ports on this device are in the same broadcast domain, and it's not good. Okay, it's very good for small network, but for large network, is not good. Another thing that we have, and another term is collision domain. Collision domain, it means a collision occurs when two devices send a packet at the same time on the shared network segment. The packet collide and both devices must send the packets again, which reduce network efficiency. Is very important because collision domain is a scenario in which when a device sends out a message to the network, all other devices which are included in its collision domain have to pay attention to it, no matter if it was designed for them or not. This causes a problem because in a situation where two devices send out their message, a collision will occur, leading them to wait and retransmit their respective message one at a time. Remember, it happens only in the case of half duplex mode. Also, for each of ports, In the switch, you have one collision domain. It means, for example, in this scenario, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 collision domain. Collision occurs in network when two or more network devices transmit data at the same time. For example, at the same time, PC1 and laptop 1 wants to send and transmit any data to other devices here and is collision domain. Solution for collision domain and for remove collision domain is MAC, Media Access Control. This is not MAC address. You should remember MAC techniques, and this is CSMA CA and also CSMA CD. In CSMA CD, for example, this one help us to decide when to send packets on a shared network segment and how to detect collections if they occur. Ethernet networks use CSMA CD as an access method. In this scenario and in this term, if a device wants to send a frame in the network, it first determines if the network is free. If the network is not free, the node will wait before sending the frame into a network. If the network is free, it sends the frame. It also should use for Ethernet. You cannot use it for Wi-Fi. It's very, very important. In the topology above and here, we have a hub network. Host 1, this one, for example, PC1, trying to communicate with PC2. Host 1 senses the wire and decides to send packets. But at the same time, host 3 also, PC3 also, send its packet to host 4 and the collision occurs. The sending devices, I mean host 1 and host 3, detect the collision and resend the packet after a random period of time. And this is the operation of CSMA CD. And also we have CSMA CA. In this scenario, also in this term, is a protocol for carrier transmission in 802.11 networks. It was developed to minimize the potential of a collision occurring when two or more stations send their signals over a data link layer. And it's used, as you can see here, this method is used for wireless network. It's very important. In this scenario, CSMA requires each station to first check the state of the medium before initiating a transmission. This helps to avoid potential collisions by listening to the broadcasting nodes and then also information devices to transmit when the channel is free. If channel is not clear, the node waits for randomly chosen period of time and then checks again to see if the channel is clear. But after we have gotten some information about some terms in network that is important in subnetting, we should design a scenario. For example, in this scenario, I am designer, I am administrator, and I want to use this private IP address with this prefix /24. In this scenario, I have two sites, I have two LANs here, and in one of them, I need to have 35 hosts or computers. In the other side, I need to have 17 hosts, 17 employers should sit in this site. Okay, and you should use this one. We need to have some switch, two switches here, and also for routing protocol and for using layer 3, I should also use router or multi-layer switch that uses in layer 3. And in this scenario, I have decided to use two routers. It's up to you, but as administrator, I have decided to use two routers here. First, I should say how many networks I need. You need three networks here. Why? Because for this port of router, this side you need one network, and between two router also you need to have one network, and also in the other side of this router, router A, you need also another. If, for example, you have 4 or 5 routers for each of um, ports of router, you need to have um, one network, but between two router also you need one here. It means LAN A, in LAN A, I need only two IP address. You can see here there is nothing here in this scenario how many IP address or host do you need. But you can see only you have two interface here. And it means in LAN A, that also I named, I'll call it called LAN A, I need only two hosts. Here I need 35 and here I need 37. But also we should remember I need 4 IP address because one IP address should be reserved for network address and one for broadcast IP address. For example, in LAN B, you need to have 37 IP addresses, 35 for host and 2 for broadcast and network address. Yes, it includes all of the networks in our system. But in this scenario, what should we do? As you can see here, we have any table for, this is a standard, how many bits you have, what is subnet mask for these bits or these bits or these bits, and also bit arrow, and also how many subnets that we can get, and also how many hosts that we can get. After that, we can calculate it. But you should start with the highest number here, highest host. LAN B is the first, LAN C is the second, and also LAN A is the third. First, we can start with LAN B. How many hosts that we have? We need to have 30, 35, and it means you should use 62 host here, as you can see in the table, 62, because 30 is not enough for us. We need to have 35. And in this situation, you should use /26. This is prefix length. And this is your subnet mask that you should use here. You can see subnet mask for /26 is here. And you have 62 hosts and 64 IP addresses. And it means You should use also, as you can also remember, you should use 192.168.1.0. This is should be plus 63, and we have 64 IP address here. But the first one is reserved for network address, and the last one is reserved for broadcast IP address. It means between 11 and 162, I have 62 available hosts here, but only I need 35. This is okay. I cannot do any more. You can reserve it for maybe future. Maybe you should add other employers in the future. But in this scenario, you should use this one. But what about LAN C that we should have 17 hosts? 17 hosts, you should use this one. You can see hosts 30. You should use /27, and this is subnet mask. This is here. You have written, and also you should start from 192.168.1.64 because the last one is 63 until we should have 32. 64 is number one, and 95 is number 32. And in this situation, you should write here network address is 64, and the last IP address, it should be, excuse me, it should be, I should revise it. It's not true. Yes. 95. This is broadcast IP address, and also hostess is between 65 and 94. It means we have 30 hosts and 32 IP addresses. And also it's same for LAN 2. For LAN 2, you need to have only 2 IP addresses. Also, this is enough. S/30 and subnet mask is here. 255.255.255.252. And also network address start from 192.168.1.96 to 99. This one is for network address and this one for broadcast IP address, and only I need to have these 2 IP address for 2 interface of these 2 routers. And also another thing you can also use, I should help you here. You can also use this link here, VLSM calculator. You can write here 192.168.1.0/24, and I need to have 3 subnets, and one subnet is 35, one subnet is 17, and one subnet is 2 host I need. Okay, this is host. This is not IP address. And after that, you can also see this one is here, the first network address, another network address, and also the third network address, and what is the prefix length you can see here, and what is subnet mask, and all of the information you can see here. Okay, it's another way you can get VLSM calculator if you looking for this website. Thank you. Yes, now we have these networks here for LAN C, LAN A, and LAN B. And this is prefix links that you can see /30, /27, /26, and it helps us to get also subnet mask. Another thing that we need before we go to configuration, this is default gateway. When hosts want to reach, like PCA, want to reach destination that is outside of its own network, because own network is LAN B, want to get PCB, it needs to use a default gateway. We use a router or multi-layer switch as a default gateway. Interface of the router should be set as default gateway, and you can configure it in switch and in PCA and set it to get to access to other networks in other LAN. Default gateway for each LAN is the interface IP address, this one, the router that connected to this network. I mean this one. For example, for here, this interface IP address, this is default gateway for this switch and for PCB. Okay. Now we should go to packet tracer, and I have also designed it. It's very easy. You can also do that. You can go here, for example, uh, you can get any, you can drag any two router here, and after that also two switch, for example, two switch here, and two computer here, as you can see, and also under connection you can get this one to this one, and also this one to, for example, this one, and other thing also. It's yeah, whatever. It's very easy that you can get. Okay. Yes, I should select all of them and click on delete here and delete here, and also escape is very important because it's on delete. If I click here also, it will be removed. Okay. Okay. In this scenario, you should go to router A and under CLI, can you see here? This is router A, and under CLI, click no. First, enable mode, and in configure terminal or global mode, you can get access to configure IP addresses here. But what is the name of interface here? I should go to options, preference, and always here, and you can see this is G00 for router A. IP address, first interface G00, and IP address, you should click on question mark, and you can see you can write IP address here like this pattern. It should be 192.168 dot, and what is my IP address here? The first one is 97 97 1.97. And what is subnet mask? Subnet mask is 255.255.255.252. And also is very important, you should no shot, you should activate this interface. And what about G01? And also I have click on exit and come back to global mode, and right here interface G, this is gigabit 01. IP address should be IP address here 192.168. I should use the first one. The first one IP address, it should be 11. Okay, this is only this up to me. I can use 12, 13, 14, all of them free, but I want to use 11. 192.168.1.1, and subnet mask is 255.255, and it should be 224. Yes, and also remember no shot here, and it will be up, and you can see also it will be green. Okay, but here no, because this router waiting for other side and cannot be up, because other side should be up also. And also you can click on your do right here to save all of the information here, and also maybe you can click on end and come back to exit mode, and right here copy running config to startup config. It's same process, and you should say the name should be a startup config, name should be Amir, a startup config, for example. This is only example. Okay, you can go to other side here, and right now I don't need to enter initial configuration because I will do that. I don't need default configuration. First, enable mode and configure terminal. Go to global mode, and right here interface gigabit G00, and IP address should be 192.168.1.98 here. We come back here, only we have two IP address here. This is network IP address, the network address, and only we have two IP address here. As you come back here, show you this one, excuse me, only I have 97 and 98. I should also use 98 for the other side of the network here and router here, okay? And subnet mask is important. If you write here, for example, click on enter, it doesn't work for you in complete command because you need to also write 252 subnet mask and no shut down to activate this interface. And you can also get information, its state changed to up, okay? And also exit and interface G01 in the other side. Here I want to configure it, and also before that you can see it will be green because both of them is active right now. Okay, it's very important. IP address also should be for this side. Excuse me, you should use this one. I should use the first IP address. This is the network address, and the first IP address should be 192.168.1.65. I can use 65, 66, 72, and all of them. All of them. Only you cannot use 64 or 95. It should be between them, between 65 to 94. But the first one is okay for me. Also, you can copy it. Copy this IP address and go here. 255, 255, 255, 2. And what is subnet mask here? Subnet mask also is 225, 24, excuse me. And no shot. And do WR to building configuration or save configuration. But also in PCA or PCB and also switch A and switch B, you should also configure something. For example, in PCA, you can come here and under desktop, under IP configuration, you should write any IP address here. For example, I want to use IP address for one. This is in LAN B. Yes. And the last IP address, you can use it for PC here. And what is subnet mask? And subnet mask is this one, because it is a LAN B. And what is default gateway? You can see default gateway. Default gateway, the IP address of G01. And what is IP address of G01? IP address of G01 is here. 11 that I have also configured for router is very important. Should be same IP address. And it's okay right now. And we can come back. Can see. What about PCB? PCB is in LAN C and IP address should be the last one IP address. And subnet mask is 224 and also IP address of default gateway is, excuse me, default gateway IP address is the first one IP address that we have configured for router B. Yes, it works. And also you should go to switch A and under CLI enable and configure terminal, or also you can write here conf t is same, and right here interface, which interface, excuse me, you should write here default IP default gateway. What is default gateway for this switch? Default gateway for this switch is same default gateway for computer and PC. This one, excuse me, the 1 1. Yes. Do you need any more? You can see CR. It means do you not you don't need any more here. And you can click on here and only this one, and also you should go to interface G01 and no shots because this is here, and also interface. You can write here, for example, only int. It should be interface fast Ethernet 01 and also no shot here. And same process in switch B. You can go here, enable or N is okay, both of them. Configure terminal, or only you can see conf terminal. If you write here, for example, T and click on tab, it will be configure terminal, conf terminal. And IP default gateway for this one should be this IP address. Yes. And interface G01 should be no shot. And interface F01 also should be no shot. And you have configured all of the IP addresses in this network here. For example, here we can try in the exec mode. You can write here ping IP address of G00 here. G00 IP address of LAN A, it was there. This is IP address of G00 under router B. And you can see here, success rate is 100%, and PCA, router A can ping router B, this IP address. And also we can try to other devices here. For example, 11, and also one we have it's enough for today because I have also something, and in other videos I will try to describe something for you. But now these two devices can ping each other. We should come back to our PowerPoint here. After we have configured IP address for all of the interfaces of router A2, router B2 here, and also for switch B default gateway, so switch A default gateway, and also IP address for PCA and PCB and default gateway and something like that, whatever. Now we should go to quiz time. What is CSMA slash CA on a network? An access method that is used by wireless technology to avoid duplicates SSID? No. To access method that is used by technology that has excessive collisions? An access method that is used by wired Ethernet technology? An access method that is used by wireless technology to avoid collision. This is true. If you come back to CSMA, you can see this method is used for wireless network, and it used to avoid collision. You can see it doesn't detect collision, but attempt to avoid them. Okay? And in this situation, you can see this one is true. Refer to the exhibit which statement describe the media access control methods that are used by the networks in the exhibit. All three networks use CSMA. CA is not true. None of the networks require media access control. No, it's not true. As you can remember, for network 1, because you used Ethernet cable, we use CSMA CD. And wireless should use CSMA CA. It's like other keys here. Okay, it's true. And network 2 don't use CSMA CD or CSMA SA. Yeah. Refer to the exhibit how many broadcast domains are. If you can remember, a router is used to route traffic between different networks. How many networks that we have here? Broadcast traffic is not permitted to cross the router and therefore will be contained within the respective subnet where it originates. It means for each of ports in this topology that connected to other device, for router I mean, you have also same number of broadcast domain. It means you have 4 ports here and you have also 4 broadcast domain. And this is advantage of one of the router advantages instead of use only switch. If a network device has a mask of S-28, how many IP addresses are available for host on their network? I should describe for you how can get for in here, but also you can use this table here. As you can see, this table here, it means S-28 and how many bits borrowed is 20 and how many hosts, this is 14. But it's better how to learn how to use it. S/28, it means you have 28 one here, okay? And only 4 of them is 0000. This is host portion, as you remember from other lessons. And it means you should write here to the power of 4, the number of 0 here. You have 40 here, and it should be 16 IP addresses. But you remember for any network, you have one IP address for network, one IP address for broadcast, and the rest of them is available hosts here. Available hosts here. Okay? It means 16 minus 2. 2 is network address and broadcast IP address, and it will be 14. And for example, for S-24, also you have other thing here for S-29 or S-30, S-31. Also, you can use, for example, for S/29, you have 2 the power of 3 minus 2, and it should be 6. And for S/30, you have only 2 hosts. 4 IP address that you can see here, 4 IP address, but 2 host address or 2 available hosts. Which subnet mask would be used if 5 host bits are available? How can we calculate it? For example, for S/24, subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. It means it has 8 0 here or 8 bits here. But for S/25, it's 7 bits. For S/26, it's 6 bits. For S/27 is 5 bits. 5 bits is the number of 0. For S/28, this is 4. Did you remember it? Here, this is 4 bits because 4 0 here for S/28. And in this situation, for SH228, 0. For SH225, you should write 255, 255, 255, 128. How can calculate it? Because you should write 256 subtracting 2. And what about SH26? For SH26, the next should be 192. How to calculate it? 128 plus 64. For SH27, 192 plus 32. You can see 64. The first one is 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. This one, but vice versa. You can calculate it based on this formula. Yes, and it was the last thing that I have described for you. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe me and support me and leave me any comments, and maybe you have any question also, you are welcome to leave me any question here. Have a nice day, friends.